Hi, my name is Settanni. I am a 7th grade special education math teacher, and I've focused my project this semester on addressing the co-planning needs of co-teachers. I'm currently in my 4th year of teaching, and I've been a co-teacher for 3 out of those 4 years with the same general education math teacher. My first year we taught together, learned the new curriculum, learned a little bit about each other. And then in my second year, I had a little different assignment. And then these past 2 years, the same co-teacher and I have taught together consecutively. We work really well together. We've developed a good relationship in and out of the classroom. So we have created a welcoming classroom environment that supports a lot of different needs in one class. We have a lot of fun with our students, and then that comes from our organization, our preparation, and just our collaboration and the way we work together. What's been really nice is having 2 consecutive years. So last year we did a lot of new lessons or a lot of new organizing, and this year we're able just to pick right up where we left off. So that has been nice. We've seen a whole flow of a year and kind of made adjustments this year based on how things went last year. What else I really like about our co-teaching relationship is that we share all classroom responsibilities. So even though I'm the special education teacher, I don't just sit in the back of the room and walk around. I am up teaching while she's walking around, and vice versa. And we both contribute to assigning homework and grading homework and creating quizzes and tests and accommodating those quizzes and tests. And we share in the teaching. I think that if a guest teacher were to walk into our room, they wouldn't know which one of us was the general education teacher and which one was the special education teacher. And same with our students. It would be hard to tell who has an IEP, who doesn't, just because of the environment that we've created. I've had some very positive experiences with co-teaching, and I really want to share that with other teachers, and I know that not all the time they have the same positive reactions to co-teaching. There are some challenges that some co-teachers have, and a lot of times that comes from a new co-teaching relationship, because it's hard to build a collaborative relationship out of nothing. It was hard for me, and it's hard for new people, but once you do it, it gets a lot better. Also, trying to figure out how to share responsibilities in the classroom can be challenging. It's hard for general education teachers or teachers with their own classroom to kind of give up that responsibility and that ownership of one classroom and really share it with another teacher. It's hard to say, okay, you can teach this part of the lesson, I'll teach this part, especially if it's in an environment that isn't very welcoming or collaborative. Identifying classroom roles is another area that new co-teachers can struggle with. Again, kind of going back to being hard to let someone into something that we're very familiar with. It's very vulnerable to just let somebody else do something to help you in your classroom. I know that for us, we started where I was very much the special education teacher, did all the accommodations, did all of that kind of planning, and my co-teacher was in charge of the general education pacing, which is an acceptable way to start with a co-teaching relationship. The biggest piece and the biggest criticism that a lot of co-teachers have is the time that they don't have to plan together. That's an essential piece to a well-organized classroom for one teacher, and it's especially important for 2 teachers when they're sharing a classroom. So I, through some research, kind of came up with 3 possible options and as far as how technology could help co-teachers that don't share a planning time to plan lessons that they're going to teach together. What really drove my research was the question that some co-teachers ask when they walk into a general education classroom. So if I'm the co-teacher walking into my general education teacher's classroom, I don't want to walk in and say, what are we doing today? I want to be able to answer that question for the students. I want to know what we're doing. I want to know why we're doing it, and I want the students to know that I'm a part of that planning and I'm a part of that organization, so that they value me as much as my co-teacher does as the teacher in the room. So 3 options that are kind of different that I have as possible solutions. One was just simply using school emails. So my co-teacher could send me an email, hey, Allie, we are going to do lesson 3.1 notes today in class. Okay, that's a start. That's a good way for me to know what's going on before we walk into the room. I could respond with, great, I'll make sure to have copies of the notes for our students that struggle with writing and struggle with math, and I'll make sure that I repeat directions as you're teaching to accommodate those needs. So just one option is school email. Then I found this Wunderlist application. So an application on a phone that kind of creates a to-do list that you can share through email with another user. So I'm a coach, so if I was taking a bus to a basketball game and I was like, I came up with an idea that could work for our classroom, I could add it to this to-do list. My co-teacher, if she was shared on my list, could get a notification and kind of look it over. And then if we ever found ourselves in the same room or at school, we could pull up that list on the computer using email. So kind of a way to have an on-the-go list and an on-the-go shared space. And then my third option was creating a co-teaching planner or editing one on Microsoft OneNote. I went to a Train the Trainer co-teaching conference hosted by Ann Benninghoff and Sonia Kunkel, and they use this document as their way to begin co-planning, kind of designating one teacher as teacher A and what their role will be, teacher B what their role will be, and then paying attention to the accommodations and modifications that are needed to support students with IEPs in a co-taught classroom. So taking that specific document and putting it onto Microsoft OneNote as something that 2 people could collaborate on. We could share a document, we could both contribute to the same space, and stay organized in our roles and responsibilities in implementing a lesson. So that's the option that I went with. And my plan was kind of scaffolded as far as how much we would work with that document on OneNote. So in the first week, the general education teacher, so my co-teacher, was in charge of creating the short to-do list of the lesson plan. She's the expert at the curriculum and the pacing of what needs to be done based on district goals and the other 7th grade in our school. So she was going to create the 3 things that we needed to do each day. After she did that for the whole week, I went back in and kind of edited what I could contribute to that, how I could help organize the warm-up, or how I could make accommodations and make sure that students' needs were being met. And then she could look back and tweak it, and by the end of kind of a week or the week before, we would be organized and ready to go for that week's lessons and activities. In the second week, we decided that we should add some reflective comments. So what went well? What could we change? If we were going to do this lesson in 25 minutes again, what would we do differently? How could we make it better? And then in the third week, that's where I kind of took over as a special education teacher. I made the list, the things that needed to get done in the classroom, what each of our roles were going to be, what things needed to get done, and then she came back and contributed to my ideas and said how she could provide some accommodations or how she could modify different tasks so that all of our students' needs were met. And then last week, we left a blank document, and both of us ended up just writing in different things that we needed to get done. I think that last week went so smoothly for us because we've taught these lessons before. For a new co-teaching partnership, that would be probably a little bit more challenging. Might have to do a day-by-day kind of just contributing to different ideas as the weeks go on. Again, using my co-teacher and my previous relationship and current relationship as something that could really help move this process along in a little different way than people who are new to co-teaching. Still a very helpful resource. We just were able to bump it up to the next step based on our experience together. So on the left here is a bigger version of that planner from Ann Benninghoff and Sonia Kunkel. Really shows like what each teacher would be responsible for, and then highlighting the accommodations and modifications that need to be addressed in the co-taught classroom. On the right is what ours looked like. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 3 kind of main highlights that we wanted to get done, typically like a warm-up, a lesson, and then some homework. And then we would each add what we were going to take care of. She was teacher A, I was teacher B, and we always had the accommodations for our students with any kind of goals, not just math, not just writing, and not just reading, how all needs could be met. And then we added this notes and reflections comments that kind of helped us stay on track with things that needed to get done before the lesson, and then also some thoughts after the lesson. Here's a worked example. I'm sure that it looks disorganized and kind of messy to not someone actually doing the teaching, but really when we were going through and getting it done, it became kind of a to-do list. So she was in charge of sending buff sheets to the printer for notes for the students. I was teaching this lesson. We needed to make sure we had skeleton copies of the notes and that we were continuously repeating directions as students were working. Then in the notes column, we have homework, which has been very helpful for when we need to go back and remind students what homework is, or it will be helpful next year when we're planning our lessons to know exactly what we had assigned for homework. Different to-dos for the week, things that we needed to get done on Monday. Then we go into kind of the reflections. So what went well because of what we had done, and things that we could really improve on for next year. That part is really important to both of us and has really helped us. For new co-teaching pairs, I think this would be a lot more information typed in here, because really they will have to have more than just, hey, we're doing this warm-up on this page, or we're going to teach this lesson. Because my co-teacher and I already have this lesson organized, all we needed was the notes. But a new co-teaching pair could really write, I'm going to do the warm-up, it's going to look like this. You're going to teach the lesson, use this book page, organize the notes this way. Really editable based on who's using it. What was great is that it was updated in real time. We could both be working on it at the same time, no matter where we were. So overall, I learned a lot of things through this research. One, it takes a lot of organization to adjust to a new schedule, figuring out when I could contribute to our OneNote, and then when she was going to reply to me. It will help new co-teachers really share responsibilities. So realizing that as a special ed teacher, I have a lot more to do than just be walking around the room making sure my students with IEPs are following along. I can be working on accommodations and modifications and share those with my co-teacher so that she can implement them as well, and I can teach the lesson to the whole group. Obviously, there are still things that need to get done so that we can have the materials prepared, but that's a quicker meeting than having to figure out everything for the whole week. Really, my favorite part was these reflection notes, because I know that as we move forward, we can only get better, and being able to see where we were at the end of this year to figure out how to start next year will be very beneficial. I really enjoyed learning this, kind of editing this document and working through it with my co-teacher. We're still using it now, even though the experiment is over, and it's definitely something that we're going to continue using and share with some of our other co-workers who are working as co-teachers.